Alright, welcome back to another video, although welcome to the first time. I'll just say welcome to a new video. I go by Professor Haystacks, and I will be doing a hopefully briefer review of Gift of the Maude Pie. I've decided to split off the science portions, partly because I haven't found a geologist to collaborate with. If you've seen the episode, you know that Maude makes some references that are virtually indecipherable. Trying to track down someone who can decipher them, and I'll do a little interview style thing with them where they will hopefully explain that. Now, right now you see a abstract painting right here. What I am hoping to do is replace that with the video and pipe in the audio of whatever I'm talking about. Obviously I will not be seeing it there because that's not what's there right now. I have a TV sitting behind the camera so that I can time this correctly with any luck.
We're going to meet her! We're going to meet her! We're going to meet her!
Alright, now, right off in the first scene, there is a movie reference that someone actually pointed out to me. The two people sitting opposite Rarity are from a movie called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I believe. In addition to the vague resemblance to the actors in the film, one of them has a cutie mark that is curtain rings, and the character in the movie is a curtain ring salesman. I have not actually seen that movie. Someone informed me of it shortly before I started recording this. Moving along, a bit further on. First of all, I want to point out that Maude looks absolutely adorable. Her dress is quite appropriate for her skin tone and hair color.
Let's go! Oh, you Pie sisters have just about the sweetest family traditions. Every year, you set aside a special day to spend with each of your sisters? Yep, I do separate trips.
Now, I would very much like to see Pinky's trips with her other sisters, which she mentions briefly. More to the point here, we see fairly early on that Pinky is intending to get a rock pouch for Maude. This is essentially the equivalent of the watch chain from Gift of the Magi, in that it is something that goes with a precious object held by the other person. Although in this case, since Maude sees Boulder as a pet, it seemed unreasonable right from here that that's what she would give up. I was a little worried that she would, but I thought maybe they were going to take this whole plot reference a little too far. But thankfully they did not. See that?
Oh, what a spectacular view! You really can see everything from here.
Especially the glaciation of the sloping strata. It's breathtaking.
But not half as breathtaking as the gift I'm giving you!
Alright, so I've only showed one part of what's essentially a long montage, and I need to make sure I'm actually in frame here. But Pinky absolutely cannot keep a secret. It appears to be physically painful for her in the one where Pinkie Pie knows. And that one I'm question whether it was worth it. But anyway, Maude also makes some probably insightful comments. Again, I kind of need a collaborator on that one since my area is more physics. But in my area, I will note that they have one of those telescopes that you have to put coins in. I assume it takes bits in their universe. And then, it lasts like a minute, and then it cuts off, and you can only stare in one specific direction, so half the time you can't see anything. If there's some fog or clouds, you won't be able to see whatever it's supposed to be looking at.
It certainly is cozy, but this simply won't do. Working in a space this small would make me lose my mind. Just like Maude's gonna lose her mind when she sees the gift I'm giving her.
Alright, so technically another part of the montage, but what I want to point out here is that while it's taken to the extreme, this bears vague similarities to what in Charleston, South Carolina, is called a Charleston single house. The idea actually originates from Barbados. The idea is a house that is only one room wide, but it goes back quite a way. Some of these houses have the floor space of small mansions. but they're only one room wide and they just go way back. A popular story that tour guides in Charleston say is that this was as a tax dodge. That is, as far as I can find, not actually true. Instead, the point of the house is that if you align it correctly, the only windows that catch the sun are on the narrow front and or back. The windows on the side will conduct a breeze but will miss the side entirely. Therefore, window space and wall space you have is designed to minimize sun exposure and thus keep the house cooler in the hot Charleston/Barbados weather. I'm not sure which is hotter, but they're presumably both quite hot. I know Charleston is.
So, Maude, that boulder of yours is such an interesting character. You must tell me, how did the two of you first meet?
It was a dark and stormy night. Little did I know that my life was about to change forever.
All right, note that beginning. It was a dark and stormy night. Stereotypical film noir kind of start. Famously, Snoopy and Peanuts would use that as the opening for every book he wrote, and would have things, suddenly a shot rang out, or suddenly a vote rang out when he decided to write a political novel. Of course, completely deadpanned by Maude, which, as usual...
You got along with your grannies? We'll buy a pouch for my sister, please!
Miss, the store's clearly closed.
But it can't be. It just can't be. If I can't get that pouch, then not only am I not getting my sister the greatest present in the history of but now I have no present for my sister at all!
Let's go! Discovery...
All right. Here, moon seems to equivocate to weeks, despite equivocating to months in most places. Not entirely sure what's up with that. I think really the writers just kind of forget what they're using for it. Also, that police officer looks vaguely familiar. Maybe someone can say if she's shown up before. I can't place it right off, or maybe it's a parody of something specific.
Now back to Discovery Family. Let's go!
And Boulder's been by my side ever since.
Wow, what a surprisingly suspenseful and compelling story. I completely get what you see in him now. Pinkie Pie, you're back! Oh, your hooves must be sparkling clean. Huh? All right. Garçon, one super deluxe 2-mile-high hot fudge sundae stat! What happened? Did you get a pouch for Maude?
All right, 2 points to note. First, if you got to have a commercial break, this is the way to do it. The inserting of the break in the midst of Pinkie's search and presumably rather slow walk back and Maude's apparently rather long story suggests the passage of time, and in point of fact, real time, as that does seem about the right of time it would take to tell this epic tale of Boulder, which I kind of wish we'd heard more of. Other point to note, Unicorn Waiter. The ability to move things remotely would be incredibly handy for a waiter, I do have to say.
Thanks, Rarity! Maude, I can't help but notice you're staring at that marvelous giraffe. I was just wondering, any chance you could see yourself with it?
Only if I had a mirror.
I don't think Maude's making a joke here, but she might be, given that she pretty clearly makes one later. Earlier we saw people dancing on a piano, making out the theme tune, and Pinkie doing the glissando. I think that is a reference to the movie Big, although the piano keyboard dancing may predate that. Someone who's a bit more of a film buff than I am might want to check on that. But the first reference I know of to it is from the movie Big. As far as I know, no pink pony interrupts in that one, but the general scene that she does interrupt in here seems to be based on that.
Now, Maude, I know you're a big fan of rocks, so get your camera ready, because these are the most spectacular rocks in all of Manhattan. Surely there must be something here that catches your eye.
Boulder says they're all too stuck up.
I love that Maude whispers to spare the feelings of the diamonds and other gems. Diamonds do seem kind of stuck up. oh, look at me, I'm a diamond. I have the highest level of hardness on the Maude scale, but shatter at a blow from a hammer. It's because diamonds have multiple cleavage planes, but that's a gemology thing there. Also, interesting point. Under normal standard temperature and pressure, diamonds are actually constantly converting into graphite. It's a very slow process, but it does happen. On the other end of the scale are white dwarf stars, which are carbon that is slowly turning into diamond, as that's actually the lowest energy state of graphite. It takes a long time, and it stays that way because it's under immense pressure, but eventually you get a black dwarf after billions and billions of years that is made almost entirely of diamond. Of course, even if you could get it, diamonds would then become absolutely worthless because you have to have an effectively infinite supply.
All right. You and me, Maude. You and me. What do you think about this? Or this? Or this? Or this? Or this? Or this? Or this?
I like that.
What is it? You have to tell me. Was it this bite, this lamp, this grappling hook? What do you like?
I like that fissure in the sidewalk. It's an elegant example of thermal expansion and soil settlement.
All right, saw the Twilight came briefly. Apparently Twilight just tossed it out and it wound up being sold from hand to hand. The early part of this, where they have the close-up on the eyes, except it's not really a close-up, it's just cutting off the screen around the eyes. This is a reference to the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The music even bears a resemblance to the showdown music played during the final scene of that movie. More famous is the opening theme of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which goes... Tempted to whistle it. I may wind up having to overlay something on that. But that is not actually what's played during their showdown. I went and watched it extensively. And, of course, in that movie, they did close-ups on the eyes, where the eyes were then filling most of the screen. But that's hard to animate. It's much easier to just cut off parts of the screen so that you only see the eyes. Still, good reference to it. The line I can't pick up as a reference to anything specific, but it seems like something that probably occurred in a lot of Westerns. The you and me, that part. Probably very common to Westerns, but I can't think of one that uses that specifically.
There you are. Sure wish I had something to carry you around in.
First off, googly-eyed rocks. Some of the later pet rocks, I understand, had those. Of course, the original pet rock, which Boulder is something of a reference to, was literally just a rock. Came in a box with some instructions like, perfect pet, never needs to be fed, walked, or watered. All true, of course. Also, seeing Boulder with the other rocks reminds me vaguely of Plank from Ed, Edd and Eddy and Stump from Angry Beavers when they went to visit their relatives. Plank's relatives were other pieces of wood, and Stump's relatives were a bunch of trees. Same general principle.
So, let me get this straight. You, really need this pouch, huh?
I believe I said really, really, really.
Well, you know, pouches like this are really hard to come by these days. But, might be able to part with it for the right price.
So you'll sell it to me, and I'll finally be able to give my sister the perfect pie sister surprise swap day present? Oh, thank you, thank you, thank
you! That's one sweet potty cannon you got there. Tell you what, I'd be more than happy to give you the pouch for the low, low price of that cannon.
My party cannon?
Well, if you really want to give that sister of yours the perfect present, then you'll have to give up your potty cannon. So, what do you say? The pouch for the cannon.
Let's go!
Interesting use of break here to imply a period of deliberation. This is the Gift of the Magi plot reference right here, trading a precious item for a gift. Here, I really have to ask, can't Pinky, I don't know, build another one? I mean, she got the first one from somewhere. I realize there's some sentimental value, but just like hair grows back, feel like you could build another party cannon. Interesting note, while she calls it a rock pouch, I can't imagine that many ponies carry around random rocks. I think it's probably more of a dice pouch. At least, you know, that's what a lot of people I know would use it for. They need to, like, sell some of those at conventions. At the very least, I'm sure the crafting tables will have some replicas of the pouches seen in this episode at some point. Really hope the next one I go to does. I might actually get it, use it as a dice bag, not to carry around rocks, but they look nice anyway.
But you're Pinkie Pie. You're supposed to be all, oh, I'm so excited I got the rock pouch. And I know I say excited a lot when I'm actually just kind of excited, but this time I'm really excited about how excited I am about being excited over the rock pouch. And then you fire off your potty cannon. Say, where is your cannon? Did you lose it? Is your party cannon lost somewhere in the big city?
Well, I wouldn't say it's lost. I mean, I know where it is. It's just...
I can clearly see that something's bothering you, and I want to help. But I can't help you unless you tell me what the problem is.
Oh, there's no problem. It just turns out that the going rate for a rock pouch in Manhattan is 1 party cannon. Who knew?
You gave away your cannon? But that party cannon is your everything! You absolutely love that cannon! How could you possibly part with something that means so much to you?
Well, I finally got Maude a gift that's just as good as the ones she always gets me. And that's all that really matters.
Well, I guess I understand. Maybe.
Maude's going to be so excited. I can't wait to see the look on her face when she sees the pouch.
I know. The camera loves Boulder.
Camera does indeed love Boulder. Backing up a bit, all the stuff Rarity did, the camera stayed almost perfectly in place. She has very meticulous control there. Of course, the Rarity imitating Pinkie Pie scene, I'm sure the voice actress had a lot of fun with that one. And also, apparently, Rarity thinks Maude thinks a good holiday card is a picture of her and Boulder with a crack in the sidewalk, which Maude probably does think that's a good holiday card.
Well, you're going to have to. We don't just swap, silly. We always sing the Pie Sister Surprise Swap Day song first. Ready, Maude?
As I'll ever be.
It's the Pie Sister Swap Day song!
Hey.
I note that Maude actually seems pretty nervous about singing, although she pulls I can't think of the actor's name, but he was in the movie version of My Fair Lady, and talks the whole thing. I've become accustomed to her face. Just no notes at all, just saying it flat. Hooray.
Oh, you did it again! You got me the best present in the history of... This is perfect! This is amazing! This is incredible! I love it! I love it! I love it! What is it?
It's little pieces of cupcake scented paper. You know, confetti for your cannon.
I was half afraid we were actually going to see what the gift was there. That would have been a poke in the eye for the viewers there. They did a good job building the dramatic tension, although Pinky must really be out of it if she doesn't recognize confetti.
You really are the most thoughtful gift giver in the world! I'm gonna love it 5 ever! That's even longer than 4 ever.
Should 5 ever be a thing now in the fandom? You know what? No. I personally think it sounds kind of silly. It's too silly. Too silly.
You're right. That is impressive. But it's no fissure in the sidewalk.
Play nice.
That is adorable. Telling Boulder to play nice with the giant rock.
Relieved to see that you like the pouch, especially considering what Pinkie Pie had to give up for it.
What?
I mean, forget I said that. I'm glad to see that you like the pouch. You can remember that part. Just forget the second part. You know, the second part where I said that Pinkie Pie had to give something up. And, I should just stop talking now. Nothing.
Yay! I love my sister! My new confetti!
Why isn't she using her party cannon?
Ah! Ooh, wow! Look how filthy my hooves are! I really should go wash them!
Where's her cannon?
No, stop giving me that look! I can't take it! Pinkie Pie feels badly that the gifts that she always gives you are never as good as the ones that you give her!
Okay, now Rarity also apparently cannot keep a secret. Random point here. Maude spontaneously reappearing on the other side of people, which we also see a little later in the episode, seems reminiscent of Droopy Dog, who also spoke in a monotone, although was a male, and would also pop up behind people with no explanation. In retrospect, she pretty much is an XP, as they say, of Droopy Dog. Though we've yet to see her go, "I'm so happy," as he did in exactly one episode where I think he won the lottery or something. And, of course, in a Cartoon Network promo spot.
I think I know what this is about. You guys want to ride the swans. Well, they're swan boats, but there are real swans here we can ride.
You gave away your party cannon?
Ooh, Maude is almost visibly upset here. Almost not quite entirely imperceptible emotion. Also, riding real swans would be a very, very bad idea. Also, swans are quite dirty.
There.
Yep, that sure is the pony I got the pouch from.
That's amazing! How did you know where he'd be?
Maude sense.
Runs in the family.
I wonder if the rest of the family has their own sense. I guess Limestone would sense people messing with her rock or whatever, although she didn't sense it when Applejack crashed the rock in the Christmas episode or Hearthwarming. I would like to see what the other senses are if they exist, though.
I'd like to return this pouch for my sister's party cannon, please.
Sorry, Missy. All sales are final.
I'd like to return this pouch for my sister's party cannon, please.
Oh, I've never seen her like this. Look at the fire in her eyes. You better do what she says.
Fire in her eyes.
Oh, did she just clench her jaw? I think she clenched her jaw.
I didn't see.
Oh no! When she clenches her jaw, you know what that means.
What? What's it mean?
Trust me, you do not want to know.
I'd like to return this pouch.
Here, take it, please! Just relax that jaw of yours and turn down that fire in your eyes!
Okay, now, this tactic they use is of dubious legality. They're essentially threatening the guy. I do note that Maude did not say please the last time. Coming from her, that's essentially the equivalent of swearing. Yeah, I'm reminded a bit of Kantho from an episode of Doctor who had to say con at the beginning of all sentences and tho at the end, though. Or it would be like swearing. In this case, she omits the pleasantries, and that's essentially swearing at the guy for her.
Pinkie, gift giving isn't a competition. It's an expression of love, and you always make sure to give your gifts with lots of love. That's why I'll always love them, and you, 5 ever. That's even longer than 4 ever.
Maude's smile is adorable as usual. Also, she reminds me a bit of Silent Bob. Just, her biggest lines are to deliver the moral of the story or otherwise help out.
Voila! Welcome to the future home of Rarity for You. What do you think of the place? Is this the right location? Did I pick a good spot?
No. You picked the perfect spot.
Funny mouth expressions. I've seen the ones for Rarity used in clips. Also, did Maude make a joke there? Also with the 5 ever thing. I think she is making jokes. It's hard to tell with the delivery, but I think those are jokes. This kind of supports the Maude Pie cheese sandwich ship. I don't know why I find that particular ship hilarious, but I do.
What's that?
ESSSDWR. It's a new tradition that Maude and I came up with. Pie Sister Surprise Swap Day.
With Rarity.
I'd like to note that this episode had a lot of expressive ears. They kept drooping when the characters were sad or upset. Maude winks fairly cutely, I think. All right. Also, at one point there, you could practically hear the excitement in Maude's voice, which for her is very excited indeed when they noted that Rarity was going to be joining them. And we again have a unique ending. Apparently that's going to be a thing this season. All right, so final notes. I was actually pleasantly surprised that this did not go full Gift of the Magi. As I mentioned earlier, Gift of the Magi seems to teach a pretty bad lesson in that they don't actually consider the whole picture when giving gifts, which is something, but you got to think that if you give up something too precious, they're just going to feel bad that you did that, which kind of defeats the point. This one has, in my opinion, a much better lesson. I would also like to note that my brother got me a Christmas gift that was a meteorite fragment, and thinking on it, that seems like that would probably be a good gift for Maude. Maybe a geode, although she might think that those are a little stuck up. But meteorite fragments can be found in various places, and they are geologically interesting for a variety of reasons that I might get into on the science side at some point, although I don't know that fits quite right with this episode. I also apologize for talking too fast. I have occasionally been trying to get rid of that. Not quite there yet. And as always, please feel free to comment if you like this. If you thought it sucked, then I probably agree. Thank you, and drive safely. My little pony, something do today. My little pony, something that rhymes with day. Da 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 da. Don't know what they're saying. My little pony, still got time left. I'll be there right by your side.